Lunch Money Lambert, Jeff Malott. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Yeah. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Hey. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation, where we talk about fishing and competition. It's your boy Ox Pippin, aka Ox Fishing. Don't come over here tripping. Hey, hope you enjoy the show. Jeff Malott, Lunch Money Lambert, Lego. Hey, welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Yeah. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Hey. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation.
All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to KBN Live. Happy Monday. What's up, Brian? How you doing, man?
Tired. I've had to work today. Yeah.
You had your little brunch live stream today, didn't you?
Yeah, been a long Tuesday in the office. I feel like I hadn't left this room all day long.
Yeah, I was able to slide over there and watch the live stream this morning. We'll talk a little bit about that, but I was happy that Pete said you had the best setup in studio of them all.
I mean,
like we do here on
Hashtag
KBN.
Pro, you know?
Yeah, we're the PKAs of the podcast world.
We ain't messing around out here.
Yeah, man. How'd you think
we
that
had a
went
good
this
time,
morning?
man. We had a good time. It was a good launch for sure. I think it's a good way to kick it off. There's a lot of interaction. I mean, that's what we want to see. We know how many people there are on the kayak side. We know how fast it's growing. New people coming into the sport all the time. So I think it's awesome that a platform like Bass University is taking notice of that and really kind of offering almost a shortcut, you know, for people to be able to gain knowledge from reputable sources instead of just, you know, throwing out noob questions on on every forum that they're in all the time.
Yeah, pretty cool. So I know there was quite a few people on the stream, even though it was kind of mid-morning, lunchtime, depending on what time zone you were in. But what have you gotten since the news dropped, like in your DMs, texts, general feedback?
I mean, a lot of positive feedback. People really excited about it, and I think we kind of touched on some of that in that podcast. You know, everybody kind of has their own style, and especially if you look at myself and Drew and Jody, like each one of us are very different in how we approach things. You're going to get that. You're going to get that from the top anglers across the industry. Like we started with this core group of episodes that we have to launch with, but this is going to expand, you know, continue to expand with more and more anglers and their takes on their favorite presentations, or maybe how to break down a Highland reservoir, you know, different, very specific things that, you know, I feel like from beginner to expert level, you can always learn something new. That's the beauty of the sport. There's always something else to learn.
Amen. And for those that are just jumping on that don't know what we're talking about, if you hadn't been paying attention this week, Bass University, BassU.TV announced a new kayak section, library. What should I call that, Ryan? Edition?
I don't know. I just call it the kayak side of BassU. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be its own genre, right? I mean, there's a ton of technique specific stuff from pro anglers out there already. But as you know, when you're doing things out of a kayak, there's so many little nuances that are completely different than the way you would even do the same presentation out of a bass boat.
Yeah, and I think it's going to bring a lot more eyes from that side of things, from the bass boat side of things to the kayak side of things. I saw this morning, we're going to ask Pete in a minute. We've got Pete, the dean of Kayak Bass, or BassU, and now Kayak BassU, on tonight to talk about all this. But I saw those guys and their host, Riz, and those people, their eyes were open just this morning. They were kind of blown away by some of the stuff you guys said and some of the things you were talking about, because y'all talked about rules and techniques and a little bit of rigging, just a little bit of everything.
We touched on a lot. We touched on a lot on the podcast this morning.
I'm also going to ask him why none of my questions were asked, because I was in there asking questions and was just straight up ignored.
I know. I saw you were spamming the comment section quite a bit there.
No,
I went back and read through. I was like, Jeff's busy over there.
Yeah, I went from like my profile to the KBN profile. I was throwing all kinds of stuff in there, but I got nothing. But no, I get it. It's fine. If you're watching on YouTube, help us out and like the stream over there and comment where you are watching from. We're gonna do some kind of giveaway tonight. I don't know what we're gonna do, but we're gonna give away something tonight.
Man, I wish we had a guy on here that maybe had a membership or something to give away. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we'll talk about that with him.
We'll see if we can find somebody.
Yeah, so you can guess what that's going to be, and then on Facebook, you know the deal. You just like and share to get it out there. So like and share, and we'll fill you in. Bash U's watching. They said sorry, it was a crowded pod with 3 guests. They didn't want to hear my nonsense over there. It was kind of cool being someone watching and being able to comment like that. So I got out of hand a little bit, Ryan. I apologize.
You're busy.
Yeah, I apologize. But with that said, what do you say? You want to get
let's do it
in here?
Let's
He's had a long day as well. Hang on just a second. Let me get things rearranged.
There
Pete,
he is.
Patiently waiting, sir.
Hey,
welcome
guys.
to KBN Live.
I'm not smoked, man. It's just I got the greatest job in the world. I get to talk fishing all day. What could be better than that, you know?
I don't know how you guys do it so early. That 11 a.m. startup time is I feel like I'm just getting rolling there.
You know, I love that time. It's for us, you know what, it really works well for us because we're getting our whole groups together at that time. We're hustling, we're at the office, and we take a break and we roll into the show, and it's great for us. And we got a core group that can hang out with us in the morning, which we love. I'm sure a lot of people are at work. Sorry, I would like to apologize to the managers and the supervisors, but it's really cool. But this time of night, this reminds me. I was just telling my wife earlier, like especially during COVID, I'd be sitting right here at this desk, and we'd be doing Ike Live. We'd be kicking it off, around this time every night. And if you ever watch the Ike Live episodes, they can go long.
They go long, and there's no telling what's gonna be said on there. Definitely entertaining. If you haven't checked out Ike Live, there's a vault of hours of entertainment out there.
Yeah, we won't do you like that, Pete. We're pretty strict. We're pretty strict on the time. We'll stay about an hour and 15 minutes at the most. So don't worry. Don't worry.
I'm all in. Guys used to measure the how far away their launch ramp was by how many Ike Live episodes they could get in before they got to the ramp,
Yeah, I've used many of those to get across the country for some of these kayak tournaments. So yeah, good stuff. Yeah. And just so you know, you've made it to the pinnacle of kayak fishing podcast, hadn't you, Ryan?
Yeah,
already.
I mean, it's only downhill from here. So congratulations.
Yeah,
we're not canceled yet, which we celebrate often.
We're still
tell us about what you got cooked up here. I know there's been, I don't know, I feel like it's been 2 or 3 years of back and forth and negotiating and pleading and and we finally got it. I think the content that you got to launch with hopefully reassured you in your thought behind the process. I promise this is going to be a fun ride.
Well, it's awesome. It always takes longer than you think it's going to. You think, oh man, we want to launch this new product, and we recognize how passionate and the kayak anglers are, and it's growing and it's doing so many different things. And man, what we talked about this about 2 years ago. I guess that's right. And but you have to craft the concept. You got to build the platform to be able to take it and stream it, and you've got to build out the app right so that you don't get the glitches. Of course, you're always going to get some, but you try to get everything right, and then you got to get the right guys, and you've got to craft the training so that it's what we want to see at Bass University. Because guys like yourself, Ryan, the best guys, we want the guys that are at the top, that are proven, that have the credentials, that are delivering that educational content. I think that's important to us, to our business model, that we've got credentialed speakers.
And for those of you that haven't checked it out, that you're not familiar with Bass University or the product that they put out, this is not like Jim Bob with his GoPro down at the boat ramp. Like, these are, I mean, seriously, these are high quality, very well produced episodes. You have a fantastic cameraman that puts up with all the antics all day long. But they've got a camera boat out there. They're getting the angles. Great audio quality. I mean, it's really, a product to be proud of. It's not just something, thrown together that you're not going to get your money's worth out of.
Well, I appreciate that. And we take a lot of pride in that too. We've got a terrific production team, that's headed up by Jeff Olson, who you met. And he's got 30 years of experience filming, all types of pieces for ESPN. That's where he comes from. So the production quality is great. So when you're talking, you're looking at a bait, or you're talking about a piece of habitat, we want to be able to get that as best we can to the viewer, so they can see what you're talking about, and they can duplicate it. So yeah, it's been a wild ride, and we've been working on this project. We've been filming it. We've been editing it. Our open, which I love, the open for the videos is really cool, and it showcases you guys pretty darn well, and people, so far people have loved it. What's really cool? I think I might have mentioned on today's show, we put out the request of like, hey guys, show us your kayak pics. How many of you guys, how many of our viewers are kayak guys, and man, we just got flooded with them. And it's a really big segment of what we're doing already. And, so I'm excited about that. It's a big world. It's a fun, group of guys like we talked about, today. And, we're thrilled to be here.
Ryan, would it be okay to watch a little clip of what you guys got going on over on Kayak Bass U, or Bass U Kayak? What do you think?
I'm okay.
Yeah, Ryan froze up for a second. I don't know, but I'm going to play the clip, Pete.
Who's that guy?
I don't know. That's probably why I froze up. He kicked me off my own clip here.
So your choice of kayaks is really revolving around the types of water you plan to access. Today, I went with my lighter weight kayak because the area that I'm going to fish can't be accessed by a traditional boat. I'm going down this remote trail to the back of this slough, the scupper cart out. I'm going to flip this little ball and unlock the scupper carts.
Very cool.
So the point is,
we
want to take you through everything, seriously, from rigging out your first kayak to transporting your kayak, the proper way to enter your kayak. Like, we're going from beginner level all the way into, high level, technique specific, forward facing sonar, and beyond. I mean, we really want to cover all the bases, because there are so many people that come into this sport and this is their first vessel of any kind. This is the first time they've been on the water. Definitely a lot of times the first time people have targeted bass or competitive bass fishing even. So I think, you have to cover all these bases to get people, to where they're comfortable. And, not everyone's going to need those beginner episodes, obviously, but you can learn some kind of, tips and tricks as far as rigging out your kayak, maybe from a perspective that you didn't consider before.
I 100% agree. And, when we launched, we're being careful about, selecting what the topics are going to be on our first, our first releases, which are the three of you guys, yourself, Jody Queen and Drew Gregory. And you took the how to launch your kayak seminar, and that's great. And it's important. A lot of people are looking at this, they're intimidated. They're thinking about getting involved, and that type of training is critical for that person, and for the person who's been doing it forever. You're giving them ideas and things maybe they hadn't thought about that will make their process a little bit more seamless. And we had Jody talks in depth in his seminar this week about a little bit more advanced rigging. The Yak Attack products, the Torpedo motor, how he's rigging out his tackle system for the guys that are have a lot more detail in their kayak fishing. And I know you have that too, Ryan. We're going to get involved with that with you real soon. And Drew took on, which I thought was really cool. He's a jig guy, right? He's a self-proclaimed jig fisherman. Really won a lot of money in a lot of tournaments doing that. And it dives into the details. And I was fascinated, just listening to that too, because it really it's an interesting philosophy that he uses no matter what body of water he's at. Like we were talking about, in a little earlier, is that he's kind of like the John Cox of the kayak world, and using that strategy, going strong with a jig, unapologetically getting after it, like digging for backwaters where the fish have not seen baits, and using that strategy and diving into the gear, like braid direct, just period, braid direct.
That's all he does.
All braid all the time. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
man, it's crazy. and it's usually very fast moving baits too. We did a Z-Man shoot, and like I'm flipping and trying to pitch around these bushes and cypress trees, and he is just burning a bait all day. Like there was no low gear at all. Like it's just burning a bait all day long.
Yep. And I was going to follow up, Pete, to ask you, just in the short time you've been filming some of this stuff and talking to the kayak guys, what are the nuances you've learned, if anything, different from the bass boat world, from some of the pros you've already worked with on the bass boat side?
Well, I guess one of the nuances was Greg DePalma, kind of, he dove in, right? How awesome is that, right? You enter your first kayak tournament and you win it.
Yeah.
And he dove in, and I was asking him about it, and he said, well, I used the same gear, but I just modify things like the action of the rod, like where I might normally use a medium action on a particular technique. And when I'm fishing from my kayak, I step it up to a medium heavy or heavy action, or I'll add length on the rod to be able to get the pressure I need. When I'm trying to set the hook, the kayak's moving a little bit more. It's moving towards the target a little bit more. And, he needed to, bear up and add pressure to it. And that was interesting. I'm starting to see that, and those little differences, the use of, mapping and aerial photography. Now we use them. I mean, I study Google Maps like crazy, but a lot of, like Drew was talking about using them, you're finding these little tiny waterways that you can access, these little backwaters that may be forgotten, and, using them in a different way. I can never get my boat in there, it's just,
no, for sure. You can only get so many kayaks in there is the tricky part with that stuff.
I guess that's true. But let me ask you this. I wanted to ask you guys this question on the show, but we were going long. And the forward-facing sonar wave, you guys, and we talked about that, how this technology is available on the kayak while the kayak guys are using it. Is that lessening the pressure on those backwaters?
Not right now, because there's 230 person tournaments happening right now. So you're getting a pretty decent amount. I mean, I would say if you look at the majority of kayak anglers, most of them are beating the banks. Most of them are looking for those. As a kayak angler, you're kind of trained and brought up to try to find those harder to access, off the beaten path kind of areas that may hold a pocket of fish that haven't seen a bait, in a year or 2 years or whatever. So that's always, in my opinion, higher pressure. in the kayak tournaments. And I think obviously forward-facing sonar is a game changer across the sport, but I think that's one reason why these guys that are so good with it in the kayaks are just mopping the floor, because you got 170 people on the bank and you've got 10 or 15 out there offshore, suspended fish, with this forward-facing sonar. I think that's one of the main things is in kayak tournaments specifically, those fish aren't getting that pressure for that, week that we're on the water.
Yeah, and some of our new rules have kind of affected the backwater stuff as well, because it's more work to get there now.
Because you have to launch from the lake itself. So, we alluded to that some on the episode earlier, Pete. But you could launch from really anywhere, and there was no real policing it. If you were flown in with a helicopter and dropped off, as long as you took out somewhere legal, that was really the only time somebody's going to run into you. So they changed the rules in these bigger tournaments, which I think is for the better. If you can still legally access that water and put in the work to get to it, then you're fine. That's the only thing that it cut out.
If you can get there, you're going to have it all to yourself, because a lot of people, if you can just drive to it and drop in, that's one thing. But the work it's going to take to get up there, if you can figure it out and make your way up there, you're going to have it all to yourself probably.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a neat. To me, that's the funnest part of that. Of being in a kayak is it brings me back to that's how I started. We were digging for those places that were out of the way, and
we've had people literally dig for them. Dig
Some people do that too
through a berm. Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of wild shit that goes on out here. You never know. You never know what's coming next, man.
Is that true? Have guys done that? Have they
100,000% true? Yeah,
we've got pictures.
Oh, yeah. We have photos from the anglers themselves. It was deemed inappropriate before the tournament started, but they had already dug the Panama Canal down on Eufaula to get to this dang pond. So you never know. You never know what's going to happen next.
Chainsaws and backhoes. You never know what you're going to have down there. So
it's fun. I mean, it's a growing sport, right? So you've been in the bass boat world forever. You've seen the evolution, the changes, the rule modifications, polygraphs, slap on a wrist, you get a fine, the difference in punishments. But we're going through all that now, and I feel like at a rapid pace, because kind of the spotlight got on kayak fishing pretty early on. So now with the way we run tournaments where your stringer's on the internet forever for everybody to pick apart every day for the next month, like in what bass boat tournament can somebody go through your stringer for a month and critique every judging call or, any, deformity on the fish or whatever? I mean, it's under a microscope all the time. And that's one of the things, honestly, that I think is one of the weaker points of kayak fishing. It's made for criticism. It's built for it.
Yeah, that's rough. Like you were telling that story on earlier today about that fish you caught twice, and I'm like, how in the world did they figure that out?
I don't know, but I should.
Chat GPT, the AI got him.
Something got me for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you could like I've heard like of the social media guys, that they might catch a big fish and they'll take pictures from different angles and make it appear as though they've caught like a 10-pound class fish 5 times, and people are coming out of the woodwork. Wait a minute, the scale patterns are the same. That's the same fish, you're scamming us. That's
we had a guy that drug one around till it was about dead 2 weeks ago, and he submitted it in the tournament like every 2 hours or something to the fish. Was like, all right, bud, like I'm checking out here. Like you could see the fish progressively getting like more pale and its gills getting more red. It's like, all right, this one's about done here. You can let it go now.
That's all. Have you guys had a lot of that?
Fair amount.
Yeah.
Fair amount. But you know what? It builds a database of what to look for, Pete.
It
That's
does.
what we do.
We've had people scrape the scales off of fish and cover them with their hand and submit one picture with the hand covering the scrape mark and one not. We've had people draw on them with Sharpies. We had a
What?
dude cut a tail off, and he would, under his hand, he would hide the current fish's tail and have the dead tail sticking out
it was
over
like
it.
the thumb trick where the thumb moves. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've had some real humdingers around here.
Wild times. Makes for good podcast content though, Pete.
It
So
does.
Yeah.
We have an unlimited source of entertainment to draw from here.
Yeah.
Well, we've had a few mishaps ourselves over on the boating side. That guy built false live wells, you know, where
Really?
they have like extra tanks in their boat. And this one guy was awesome. He would catch like a 2-pounder and he would swing it in the boat, and he'd go to put it in his live well. When we put it in, he would open up like a trap door, and he would let the little 2-pounder he just caught in the tank, and he'd pull out like a 4 or 5 pounder and bring it into the live well, you know. And you know,
Well,
yeah, I mean, he got caught because I guess his co-angler or something said, "Wait a minute, I saw those fish. They were 2-pounders," and he's
What a
weighing
snitch.
he's weighing in 25 pounds. You know,
Wow.
we're all just humans out here doing the same nonsense, aren't we, Pete?
man. But you know, I guess the bigger the money gets, you start seeing stuff like that, and people come out of the woodwork and they start acting weird, you know. But I don't know. I'm a bit of a purist. I don't want to win that way, you know.
Yeah.
We got weights and fish.
Yeah, weights and fish. I mean,
while we're on this subject, I want your opinion on it, Pete. What's your opinion on polygraphs? Do they do anything, or are they just a deterrent? I mean, what's your opinion on it? Because we have the option to polygraph in some of these bigger tournaments, but unless it's, as far as I know, just like the Tournament of Champions will polygraph, you know, the top 2 or 3. But other than that, we got people out here fishing for 10 grand, and there's really no fail safe at all. There's not even a checkup.
Well, you know, Trip Weldon, he was the tournament director for Bassmasters for a long time. And we interviewed him, and he shed some light on the situation for me with respect to that exact thing. In essence, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm sorry, Trip, but
he's probably not listening to this. Don't worry.
he basically he led me to believe that you needed 3 things. You know, one I guess enforcement action or one thing is not enough to DQ a person. In other words, you can't DQ somebody off of a polygraph if they fail. Right? You have to have a polygraph and a personal ID from somebody, or a video, or
some kind of proof other than just an accusation.
Exactly. It can't just be a polygraph or an accusation. It can't be one thing. It has to be multiples to be able to give a definitive disqualification. And so that being said, the polygraph is one. You know, I think it should be used. I think it definitely is a deterrent. But a polygraph in conjunction with somebody saying, "Hey, I saw him do that thing," now you're getting in the realm of, okay, we've got enough juice to kick this guy to the curb. So, you know, I think it's key. I think it's important.
I think just having it implemented is in a lot of people, I'd say probably 95% of cases, it just being in somebody's mind that they could get caught. I think that's going to make them think a lot more than just knowing that there's zero chance that they're going to get caught, unless somebody just happens to see them in the act of whatever it may be.
Well, I'm one of those guys. I'm probably honest to a fault, because I worry about it. Like I'm doing well in a tournament. Maybe I'm going to win this one or have to get polygraphed. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, did I do anything? You know, I'm going to memory banks. Like, oh, there was some dude on a dock that gave me, you know, told me that a black and blue jig was an important tool. And I didn't ask for it, but he said it. Is that going to DQ me? You know? And
when I was winning the TOC, I called our tournament director, AJ. I called him, and you can ask him. I called him at least a dozen times on that second day just to triple check everything. I was like, is this okay? Is it okay if I do this? Will you please double check all my fish right now and let me know if I've done anything wrong? Like, please don't let me screw this up.
Yeah, I had a voice stress analysis back in the day, Ryan, with the KBS when I won one of those tournaments. And by the end of that, I had convinced myself that I'd done something wrong. I was so nervous, even though I hadn't. So, it's something else, but it is a great deterrent. I agree.
I had one of those stress analyses. I took that kind before too. And after I was done, I said, did I pass? And the tester was like, well, I don't know. What do you think? Did you tell me a lie?
I know. Well, and the questions they ask you too, they're like, have you lied to a loved one in the last 7 years? I'm like, yeah, probably like 15 minutes ago. Like, what's your point? What does this matter? I didn't cheat at fishing. God dang, man.
Yeah.
I'm leaving.
Doesn't even know him. That family member doesn't even know I'm fishing. What are you talking about?
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
All right, Pete, I've been letting some questions build up. Ryan, what do you say we go through some of these questions?
Let's do it. I see all your stars over here.
I've been starring them up. So let's go first to YouTube. This has been asked a couple times, but I'm only going to ask Pete once. Max Lee over on YouTube says, will Pete, he said the Pete, but I think he just meant, will Pete ever jump into a kayak and fish a kayak tournament? Will you do some GDP and jump over to the kayak side?
Man, I tell you, Ike's been poking at me to do it. He's like, man, you ought to get in, and because he loves it. He had so much fun doing the events that he does, and I think it's very possible you might see me do that. I'm concerned because I can't stay in a bass boat and keep dry, so I don't know how I'll be able to stay in a kayak.
What if we park a kayak next to your bass boat, and when you cartwheel out, you just land in the seat?
That would be the perfect solution for me.
Say one of the things of becoming a real kayak angler is falling out of it. So you've already done it in the boat. So you've already broke that barrier. You've already broke that barrier. You're good to go.
Yeah, I'll be good to go. But I really like the concept, and it looks fun. What I've heard and I'd love to be part of is like the brotherhood and the camaraderie that surrounds these tournaments. Everybody seems to just be having such a good time,
Come hang out at the Ike Charity tournament up there on the Susky.
Yeah, I need to do that.
Just come hang out and maybe bring a guy with a camera and we can film some river fishing stuff up there.
That's good. I imagine there'll be some smallmouth caught, maybe.
There will be a lot of smallmouth caught. That place is magic, which I'm sure you've had some experience on that as well. But I mean, that's about the most fun river fishing kayak tournament I think in the country is on the Susky for sure.
Yeah. GDP called a shot at that one too, Ryan. He said he's ready for that one.
I know he called a lot of shots. Now you got to give him credit for that. He came in guns a-blazing.
No doubt. Well, he's got a little bit of side edge. I know he's real tight with the boys at Susquehanna Fishing Tackle, so he might have a few waypoints to help him along.
Well, honestly, another part of the rules of kayak tournament fishing is the information part's pretty much wide open as long as you don't pay for it. So there's not really, if you've got a good network, which, a lot of the collegiate anglers coming up, they have a huge network of resources across the country. And if guys aren't fishing against them, they don't care to put them on fish or whatever. I think that's another kind of differentiator on our side is, in the big leagues, as far as Hobie BOS and BASS goes, there's not really a strict information rule in place per se.
Does that go through the official practice and the tournament, or does it shut down at all?
No, you just can't. You can't pay for information. You can't during official practice. You can't communicate with a guide at all.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, you can't solicit information during the tournament.
Right. Okay.
You can't ask anybody, but if your homie rolls
but if
up
Joe
on
Blow is out there in his bass boat running around and he's like, "Hey man, there's a school out here on the ledge," legal.
Yeah.
Don't know how legal.
I tell you, it's so funny. Because we have a similar rule. You can't solicit. You can't ask for help, and it's like you'll be fishing down a dock row and you'll tell I'm not allowed to get any information. It's off limits. And they'll every single time they'll say, "Oh, okay, well then I won't tell you that a lot of 4-pounders caught here on spinnerbaits, right down this bank, and I'm like, I guess that's legal. I guess I'm good, I protected my."
We're getting comments on YouTube saying keep doing these on Tuesdays at work on Mondays. It was a holiday, man. So you get the,
Right.
you get the benefit. You get the
Sorry,
benefit.
dog raptor fighter. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry, man. All right. Hey, like I said, we're doing a like and share contest tonight on Facebook, YouTube. All you do is like and comment. What kind of membership are we giving away? Pete, are we giving away a month, a 60-day? What are we doing tonight?
Oh man, we're going to give away a 1-year subscription.
Whoa.
To I heard you talking about it, and so I'm like, man, we got to roll out. So
it was something I was supposed to ask you beforehand, and I just decided I'd spring it on you now. You know.
Oh man, we're gonna hook them up. We got a kayak, our brand new. They're not even in yet. We've designed them and ordered them, and we haven't received them yet. So we've got a brand new Bass University kayak hats. So they're gonna get one of those. They'll get a Bass U T-shirt, and I'll probably throw in a few other things there.
That's huge. Look at there. Bass U 1-year membership plus some swag. Come on.
Yes.
Like and share.
Yep.
You know the deal, fellas.
But that's one of the things that you get as part of your Bass U membership is we've got some amazing member benefits from companies like Rapala, Storm, VMC, Missile Baits, Hobie Eyewear, you name it. Epoch batteries, lithium batteries, and a lot more. Really, really great buying opportunities that are they're well worth everything that you might pay in a subscription to Bass U. It really, really good stuff. So good, as a matter of fact, I can't really go into more details than that. You have to come and check them out. But suffice it to say, you're going to save a lot of money on your tackle.
That's awesome.
And the value is more than just the information that you get, which is invaluable. You can't put a price tag on being able to pick the brains of, the best in the business here.
There you go. Next question is going to come from Facebook. Jason Dvorak. Pete, I enjoy Bass U.
Awesome.
Wondering when or if you guys are planning on getting the app on smart TVs. Right now, I just watch on my iPad, but I can't watch it on my Apple TV box. Thank you.
Well, that's being able to. One of the cool things from your iPad or your iPhone is you can cast to your smart TV without having to have any kind of device. So if you have a smart TV, you can pull up the app. You can do it on your laptop. You can do it on your iPad, and you can cast right to your smart TV as it is. So that's available to you right now.
No need for that. I like it.
Yeah.
Let's see. Katie Bacca, Mama Bacca. Hope that baby's doing good, Katie. Do you plan on inviting some ladies of the sport to teach? And that kind of leads into a question I had, which was, can you reveal any more of your roster of kayak anglers?
I will say this two that are coming. Of course, we have GDP coming. He's been with Bass University for a couple years, and he went out and won right away. So we had to have him give a lipless crankbait seminar that he used to win at Gunnersville. Boy. So we've got that coming. Of course, Ike is going to be there, and we're working with Ryan and yes, we're Christine Fisher, who we've interviewed on our podcast, and she is one at the top level. I'm interested. There's a lot of people that we'd love to have. Who look, I'm open to suggestion. Who would you guys like to see at Bass University?
Throw some in the comments. Throw some in the comments that you'd like to see seminars from. But I think, like you said, obviously Christine, she has a ton of experience all over the country. I think maybe get old Jordan Marshall on there to talk some river fishing would be good. I think you have to have a forward-facing sonar course, if not a couple. Maybe some guys that are the finesse fishing with forward-facing sonar, the big baits like we saw Ewing dominate at Seminole, throwing those giant glide baits in 30 feet of water on forward-facing sonar. I think we really have an unlimited pool of talent to pull from. But I think that's the biggest thing is kind of picking who's got the specialty that we want to target. And then, timing wise too, right? You don't want to be teaching, you don't want to do a spawning episode in the middle of the summer or early fall or something. You want to try to have those filmed and release dates where they're going to be beneficial, I think, to the first time user as it's coming out.
Some of the names getting thrown in here. We got Damian Towle. He would be awesome. Rolando Nandine, one of the most intelligent anglers we've ever had on. Greg Blanchard. Somebody threw Christine in there. Jay Wallen, I think, needs to get a look. Jeff Little's getting thrown in the comments. So tons of options people are throwing in there. Cody Milton, and Russ.
I don't want to spoiler alert it, but there's a list that's that exists with most of those names on it so far. So, I honestly, like, when we first started this discussion, we went through, and as Pete said, it's been a couple years in this process, making sure that we had a talent pool, and then also a ton of topics. Tons and tons of topics. That way you can kind of assign certain topics to people's strengths. We want it to match up and be a great end product.
Agreed. And that's, you mentioned the strengths, and that's such an important thing. And I recognize that as a teacher, you want the guys talking about what they're really good at. And that it delivers such an amazing teaching experience. In other words, you don't want me talking about throwing a drop shot. I don't know how to spell drop shot. And so it's not in my wheelhouse, right? And so when I was, getting people for Bass U, I wanted Brett Height, I wanted Aaron Martins to be talking about that technique, and that's what I want. That's what we're going to do here, and we already have. We want the guys that are excelling at a certain technique. It's their claim to fame, and that's what we want them teaching about. And it's amazing. Something happens, Ryan, when you put a guy, in front of the camera or in front of the classroom that, is forced to prepare. We're asking him to prepare, for instance, talking about spinnerbait fishing. Maybe that's what we're going to be talking about today. As you start to go through that process, the angler starts finding things that he didn't really know about himself. Like, I don't know why I do it that way until I have to teach it. And then once I start trying to teach somebody, it all of a sudden it starts revealing itself to me, like, oh, I'm doing that because it triggers more strikes in this situation, or I've learned how to deal with deep water in that scenario. And these little details start coming out that really make the magic. Like, everybody can say, oh yeah, I use a double willow leaf, when there's a lot of bait fish around. But getting into those real subtle details that really matter, that make all the difference. That's what, Ryan, that's your job now too. That's my job, is we've got to wring that out of everybody. We got to get those little details out, because that makes the magic.
And that's something that you guys did great. That when we were shooting on Lanier, asking some of those questions, the guys on the camera boat doing the production part of things, asking those questions. Well, why'd you turn your boat this way when you did that? Why did you lower your rod tip, when you made that cast? Those things that, again, is second nature to us that are out there doing it every day. But then you sit and think about why, and you're like, oh, well, because I didn't want to, bounce off that dock float or whatever it may be. Those are the kind of things that the little details that I think will take it from a basic explanation to, more of a high level. You can go out there and duplicate it yourself.
That's it. That's what we want. That's my ultimate goal. When somebody watches a Bass University product, that they have an excellent opportunity to go out and duplicate that technique themselves. You know how it is. Like, you'll ask, you'll get the dock talk, like, hey, yeah, the fish are on the points, and you go out there on a point and you're like, well, this point's a half a mile long.
They're out there, man.
Yeah. Some side, it's got 30 feet off the end of it. There's grass up on top. where do I start, you know? And that's what I want to try to shed the light, you know, and you know, peek behind the curtain and say, okay, we're going to be talking about points, but we're going to be talking about, you know, current sweeps on points and how to move a, you know, deep diving crankbait through it and trigger strikes. You know what I mean? Just diving in to those details. So person watching, man, they're confident and they're out there on the water when it's just them, you know, and they're having to try to figure this out. You know, they have an excellent opportunity, excellent chance to try to duplicate that pattern. So that's always in the back of my mind when we're producing these, to make sure that we're delivering that and we're getting all those questions answered and out in the open. So honestly, we take people, when people go out, they have a great experience. You know, we want that. We want that for them. We want them to go out and have success and catch fish, and they're going to come back to fishing, and they're going to be one of us. You know, they're going to be lifelong anglers.
And Jason Willis made a very applicable comment there. The presenters need to be good speakers as well. Like you know, it's different when you're talking to your friends versus when a camera comes on and you're actually trying to remember what you're supposed to say. Like you think you know what you're talking about until they hit record, and then your mind just goes completely blank on what you thought you were about to teach somebody.
That's awesome. We get
little stage fright out there sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, we get the instructors do sometimes, but our instructors are all good. All you guys are amazing. And it's fun because we say, like, we get such enthusiastic response from people that use the service, and they're like, man, this is incredible. This is the greatest thing. And use it to go out and win my local club tournament. And I can't thank you. And I'm like, wait, stop. All right. And then you hold up your camera and you push record and you say, okay, yeah.
Like a Ricky Bobby, they just freeze and start doing this.
Well, what's that?
I said they go Ricky Bobby and start putting their hands in their armpits and don't know what to do.
They do exactly that. They go Walt Disney, man. They freeze right up. And but it's hard. It's not easy to do, you know. And that's why, like you said, Ryan, we come on site. We've got a lot of experience doing this sort of thing. We've got a good ear for this stuff. So when we see an instructor like skip over something because they do it naturally, they've been doing it for 20 years. They don't know why they flipped the bail at that moment, or they don't know why the rod is in this position. They just have been doing it forever. So when you see something that's unique or might have been skipped, you know, we can interject and say, hey, can you talk about why you did it that way? And that's part of our process. And I think it's real important.
Jason. That's the only school he's ever paid attention to, Pete's Bass UTV. So, shout out to Jason. Good job. You passed.
Yeah. We had a question. This is a question and a comment from Johnny Maddox, who will probably win the membership tonight. He said it's obvious that Pete has a passion for this, which that is obvious. And then he also asked, and this has been asked a couple times, are there any live seminars planned like you've done with the Bass Boat guys for the kayak folks?
Yes. You can look for those coming in the spring. We want to do our first classroom seminar with the kayak guys, but I think it's important. It's been an important part of our program, just because it makes the seminars, it makes the teaching so great. When you have a teacher up there staring at a classroom, there's just something magical that happens there. There's a sense of, man, I just really want to help these guys. And you hear stuff. I mean, it's just amazing. I call it blow your hair back moment, you know, where you hear something like, wow, I never thought about it like that. And hear those moments. And it comes a lot of times in the classroom, and it can come sometimes by the class asking questions, or it can just come by the instructor just remembering a little detail that you know he didn't even know he knew. And but yes, we are going to keep you guys posted. We're going to be on site, but I love our classroom seminars. Our students love it. It's a ball. We get together for a weekend. We talk about fishing for 2 straight days when it's freezing cold out and nobody can fish. And yeah, it's a great time. But look for that to come in 2024.
A few more YouTube questions. Joe Mack asked, is KBU a paid subscription thing? And how much are the memberships?
That's a great question. It's a subscription. It's $14.99 a month. Right now, we go to bassu.tv/kayak. If you guys can put the link up, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
But right now it's 30. You can try it for 30 days free. Go check it out. And we also have an annual subscription, which is the best deal. It's 33% off, which is $119, I think, for the year. And we have a awesome tackle pack with a Rapala DT16 and a Z-Man chatterbait and a big bite pack of baits and VMC and a custom Bashu kayak hat, which there you can see that right up there in the center of the page. So those are the two ways that you can get involved. If you're not sure, come check it out for 30 days for free. You'll get to see all the kayak content that we have right now. We'll be releasing a new piece of kayak training every single week, and you'll be able to get a good feel for it and decide whether or not you'd like to be part of the program. I think you will. One of the other cool things is, as a member, you also have access to everything on Bashu TV. So all the seminars that are done by the Bassmaster and the Major League Fishing guys is you'll be able to have access to all of that content as well as part of your membership.
And
that was one of the questions.
A huge library. If you've never looked at it, I mean, it's massive, the amount of videos and seminars that they have online right now.
Yeah, that was one of the questions from YouTube is, will you have full access to the site if you're just going for the kayak content? So yes, you will. There you go.
Yep.
And you answered this sort of already too, Pete, I think. Josh Evans on Facebook asked, what type of cadence can subscribers expect for new content to be released? Did you say weekly?
Yeah, we'll be weekly, for the short term. And, we started out weekly at Bashu TV, and now we're releasing 3 to 4 seminars a week over at our, at Bashu.tv. So for right now, we're doing one a week. We expect to be filming our seminars in January or February of this year. So we'll have classroom kayak seminars that we'll be releasing, and much more to come.
Burn over on YouTube. Pete, since the night BU Live has moved to Tuesdays at 11 instead of at night, going forward, does BU plan to interview big kayak winners on BU Live like you do the Bass Boat guys?
We do. I mean, it's we're unscripted. We kind of make it up as we go along. Whatever on Bashu Live, whatever captures our attention, and it's fascinating to us. And sometimes it's been a BFL winner, a team tournament, circuit winners, all the way up to the top level. We just did an amazing, I felt like an important show with Scott Martin, where we took on Save Lake Okeechobee, where they're, trying to deal with all the incoming water and the nutrient loading and all the problems. The grass is disappearing because the water's so high. We tackle all those types of things at Bashu Live. So absolutely. We've had, like I said, we've had several, we've had Jody Queen on before, and we've had several other kayak winners, and we'll continue to do it.
Steve-O, the new Bassmaster Kayak Series leader over there, he had a great comment, but I'm going to turn it into kind of a question. Appreciate you guys getting this going. Tournaments only bring in so many newbies. This is much needed. So do you guys expect that Bashu Kayak is going to bring in new kayak anglers, or at least pique their interest in kayak fishing?
Well, I hope so. And like I said, we use tournament winners, champions, and AOYs as our teachers, because they have learned some lessons that are really difficult to learn, and they have separated themselves and they have these amazing credentials. But those lessons, man, those are lessons that apply to whoever might step into a kayak, whoever might try bass fishing. And we want to help them get better. We want to help them have a really good experience and catch more fish and bigger fish and that's great. That's great for the sport. That's our goal. So we hope it, maybe it brings a few new faces in, but hopefully it helps the guys get better, take their kid out, help them get better,
And
help
you may start out just wanting to recreational fish, and then you see some of these seminars and you build your confidence. You say, oh, well, I can do this as well as, whoever the instructor was on this video. I might want to try tournament fishing. So they go jump in a local tourney and then a regional tourney and then come onto the national scene. I think this educational format is the stepping stone to give people that confidence and kind of broaden their horizons to grow into getting out and helping us build this national tournament trail that we love so much.
We're building PKAs, Ryan. See that comment there?
Yeah, you gotta be careful, Ryan. You're training the enemy.
Buddy, I everywhere I look, there's a new enemy. I'm not too worried about it.
Keep them close.
We love it. If you turn into a tournament angler, fantastic. I love it, man. I love tournament fishing. For me, it's so much fun, and it gets, like I talk about, the levels, like level 10. When you catch, a big fish when you really need it in a tournament, I mean, there's an excitement there that's just awesome, and I love it. But we have tons of people that will never turn. They have no interest in it. They just love it. They love to fish, and they just love to learn and experience. Go to different bodies of water. Maybe chase their personal best is very interesting to a lot of people. And however you enjoy this sport and consume it, I don't care. I just love that you're here, and we're building a product to help you catch a few more fish every day.
Think about Jeff. Last week we had Jim Orr on, and him talking about how he didn't really get into kayak tournaments because he cared anything about fishing tournaments. He was taking Jackson around from the time he was 13, and Jim was just kind of there, figuring it out. And he's like, I had to learn, most of my stuff from watching Jackson figure it out. Think about a resource like this to where, you are a parent and your kid's interested in something. You want to be able to have that knowledge base to, help them grow in the sport too. This is a perfect platform for that. You can get on, you can learn techniques, you can help kind of foster that in your child as they grow up with this.
Yeah, we've got some more questions coming in. We've had a couple along this line, which is, are you going to have any active target videos? You need to have Prince Edwin on to teach forward-facing sonar. I'm sure you've got a library of those from the bass boat side. Are you going to have any kayak-specific forward-facing sonar?
Yeah, 100%. We have to. It's such a powerful force, and how people are using it. We were talking about it today on the podcast, how you guys are using it, Ryan, and in shallow water using perspective mode. But yeah, we're all in on it, and I think it's an important thing. One of the interesting things, and we kind of touched on it a little bit today with talking about perspective mode, but using it in shallow water, like everybody, right? It seems obvious when you're in that 5 feet and deeper zone, like off ledge fishing. A lot of guys are using it, effectively using it there, but less than 2 feet. We're seeing guys use it in the shallow flats of Florida, in the heavy vegetative areas, being able to see the biomass move around. Maybe not even necessarily using it to identify key fish, but moving, going into the flats and seeing, oh man, there's a ton of bait moving around in here. It's here. This is where I'm going to fish. Or looking at lanes, looking at grass. We had Brian Schmidt win down at Kissimmee, and really the first time I heard about it, using it in grass, in heavy grass, where we didn't think it could be used there. So it's constantly morphing and changing. But you bet we're going to be diving into it in the kayak realm for sure. You can count on it.
I've got some more in here. I think you already answered this as well, asking about getting a Bass U kayak hat. Somebody said he's been a Bass U member since 2013, so he's been there a decade, Pete.
Yes.
But he's won one of those Bass U kayak hats. Are those coming soon to the website, you said?
Yeah, they're coming soon. You know, we're going to have them available on Tackle Direct.
Okay.
We'll let you know when they're there. We don't have them yet. So, you know, we're excited. You guys are, you know, hearing this for the first time. You're at the very front of the line. So,
there we go.
Yeah, look at that Tackle Direct. Probably be a couple weeks.
Another one from YouTube, Diggs Outdoors asks, is Bass U going to have more attitude / mindset in general speakers in the near future? I think that is something in the sport that gets massively overlooked.
Man, I couldn't agree more. And we have, and you got to go listen to this if you haven't already. And a lot of people have because he's so famous and popular. But Gerald Swindle's positive mental attitude approach to life and fishing, it's really a life seminar that he gives for us. And he did a version for us, and then he updated the version, and it's all available on Bass U, and you don't want to miss it. It's a powerful thing, no matter, you know, in your fishing. Absolutely. I've said this about fishing forever. Like eventually we all kind of get close to the same. We all get good at jig fishing. We all get good at using our sonar. We all get good at a lot of different things. And what separates everybody is what's between the ears. And you see that in professionals, all kinds of professional athletes in sports. And it's absolutely true in fishing. And I am thrilled. We've been wanting to work with him. He's been a friend of mine. We've been competing against each other for forever. But the Puma, Stephen Browning, and Stephen is if you've ever watched him, he's competing now in Major League Fishing. He was on Bassmasters forever, and he's just always positive, always, you know, getting after it, no matter how hard it gets, battling to the last moment. And we had him give a seminar about that exact approach, his mental approach to competing and to fishing. And that's available on Bass U TV. And that's, you know, I think it's really important. The mental side of things, man, I wish more guys could get a seminar about it because it's so important. But I think the mental part and the strategy, which is kind of connected to that, we do a lot of stuff there, and we will continue to do so, especially in the kayak realm. Like we're talking about it today, how to strategize a tournament around a single launch ramp, or getting speeding tickets going from one launch ramp to the next. You know,
things like that happen.
Instead of forward facing sonar, we need a seminar on how to use the old school radar detectors.
Maybe
I've learned. That was years ago, Jeff. I'm a new man.
Dude, maybe we just stumbled onto something. Maybe we could get our forward-facing transducers and put them on our dashboard, and they would block that radar signal.
Detect John Law out there. That'd be great.
Man, that could work.
For the first TOC, Jeff, when I was coming to see you on Lake Ouachita, I got pulled over twice in like a 3-mile stretch down by Pickwick in Decatur, Alabama.
My Lord.
Yeah. It was pretty great.
Pete, you brought up Stephen Browning. That's one of the nicest guys out there. Yeah. His son and mine, for many summers, would take a little 2-man bass buggy out and chase bluegill down on Lake Hamilton. So I got a lot of cool stories down there in Hot Springs. He was my father-in-law's neighbor for years, and they had some great times. And every time I see him, I've never ran into him without a smile on his face. That positive attitude is always there.
He's a killer that way, and you just can't get him down. We had him speak for us in Texas, and I didn't realize this, but way back 30 years ago, I went to Arkansas, to Pine Bluff. My buddy had made the Bassmaster Federation National Tournament. We went out to watch him weigh in, and we hired a guide to, you know, take us out for a day. And his name was Sterling Williams. If you're watching, Sterling, it was awesome. He taught us how to fish around the cypress trees, and we learned some cool techniques that was so much fun. And as it turned out, Sterling was Stephen's mentor in fishing. And it's just really, really small world that we kind of just figured out just a few months ago.
That's awesome.
Yep. Love that guy.
Our KBN unofficial legal counsel, Matt Zapala from up in the Northeast, he wants Pete's opinion on the upcoming Cayuga tournament, Ryan. So there's a Hobie Bass Open Series event on Cayuga at the end of June. How do you think the fishing will be up there?
Amazing. The answer is whenever you go to Cayuga, it's amazing. But we've seen just amazing stringers come in. Bailey Eggbright. Is that how you say his name? I was messed up.
Yeah, we have no idea how to pronounce anybody's name.
Bailey.
That's Jeff Mallet up there too.
Yeah, we love Bailey. Bailey just fished a tournament up there on Cayuga, and they blasted them. And just giant fish. We're seeing fish like stringer smallmouth in the 30-pound range. And you have to. I apologize because I can't really correlate that in terms of inches, but it's a lot. Well, here's one of the interesting things. The smallmouth are huge and fat, and in June they're probably still spawning, but they're short.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would probably expect that bag up there to probably be around 98 to 100 inches. Because I mean, while down here we may get 22 and a half inch smallmouth in the river, up there they're much bigger around, but their length is usually not quite as plentiful.
Yes, that's exactly that. That's exactly what he said. And a largemouth, it'll weigh less, but it'll be a bit longer. So largemouth can be the key. But Cayuga is it's a special place. It's so nutrient rich, and it just has big ones and a lot of them. And I think you guys are going to have a blast up there in June. That's pretty awesome. I'd love to be up there in June. I'll be up at Thousand Islands myself that time of year. So the fishing up in New York State, man, it's hard to beat in June and July. It's got to be the best on the planet.
Wow.
Matt said he already knew the answer. He just wanted you to pump it up. he's trying to get them numbers up. So
it's my favorite place. We had a tournament when I fished the Bassmaster Federation, back before the split, if you guys know what I'm talking about. And we had 150 boats, 300 competitors, and we were on Cayuga Lake in that time range, June and early July, somewhere around there. And it was the first time in the history of our tournament trail. There was 300 guys. Every single person called a limit. And that was on Cayuga. It's never happened before. Since, but it's changed. It's morphed. Now it's the land of the giants, but there's still a ton of fish. But I think everything goes through cycles. The numbers are big, the size is big, but you can count on any day you go fish Cayuga, it's going to be a good day.
That's awesome. It looks like a legendary place up there. I haven't been. Ryan, have you made the trip up there yet? I have not myself.
I have not. No, sir. Nope.
Yeah, one of these days.
Well, it's a glacial lake. It's really crazy because in the middle of the lake, if you go from one bank to the other, it's a short distance. It's maybe a mile across, at some places, maybe a little more. It's not that
the
far.
lake runs. It looks pretty vertical and narrow. Yeah.
It is. It's about 40 miles long, and it's very narrow, and it's got 200, 300, 400 feet of depth in the middle of the lake. It's kind of radical.
That's over my head, Pete. I'm not getting into that.
It's a little intimidating. You idle off the bank. It's all milfoil grass and rocks. And then the bottom just drops out of the sky. It just goes and goes.
Do you need to take one of those road cones or whatever those guys look through up there?
Yeah, the flop.
One of those Yankees use up there.
That's where you take the tourist glass bottom kayaks from Florida up there, and you're all set. That's what you do.
You need to get one of those. I'm thinking to myself, they are out of a bass boat. They are a colossal pain in the neck to use, man. Literally pain in the neck. Like you gotta lay belly down, lean over. You got rod in one hand and a cone in the other. And you're trying to oh man, the waves are got you going. It's impossible. I wonder, you're so much closer to the water. That's got to be a really nice advantage of being in a kayak fishing that way.
What if Hobie made a flogger that attached to the pedal hole, Steve Fields? You just plug that sucker right in there, level with the water, and you can spy out your
flogger scope.
Yeah,
your scope. I like it.
Yeah, Gadget, get on that, or somebody. Yeah, Gear.
TH
Marine. Yeah, there we go.
Oh my gosh.
Glass bottom, man, I'm in.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
What a great show, man. We've had a lot of great comments, a lot of good questions. They're still flying in. I put the hashtag to win up on the screen there and put it in the comments. It's hashtag BassUKayak. We'll use that for the giveaway. You still have a chance to enter that. Just hit BassU, hashtag BassUKayak in the comments. Make sure you like and share because Ryan's checking. He's checking.
Oh yeah, I am definitely. I've got all the free time in the world to check these things.
Yeah. And if you,
we can roll out a lie detector for the winner.
Yeah, right here. Right. Pete will do the voice stress analysis by listening to your response. That's what
yeah, you have to FaceTime Pete, and he'll tell us if you're lying or not.
Perfect. I'm in.
Because Pete now knows how to work an iPhone, thanks to Jeff. So we're
right. Who'd have thought? Who'd have thought?
We're pretty much squared up tonight.
That's my one contribution to BassUKayak is teaching Pete how to use an iPhone. Who'd have thought that would be the case? I put the link. If you don't win the membership, I put the link to bassu.tv/kayak in there again, because as you recall, there's a special deal going on over there. So make sure you go over there and sign up if you don't win. But with that said, let's add this to the stream. Let's do the giveaway, Ryan. What do you say?
Let's do it.
Pete, here we go. There's always a slight pause before the winner is chosen, so let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Here we go. Drum roll, please. Well, I saw Steve Owen's name on there.
I saw Steve Fields.
Saw Johnny again.
I love this.
Brian Wisner, you are the lucky winner. There you go, Brian. Slide in our DMs, and we'll get the info over to Pete and get you fixed up.
Yes, welcome to the program, Brian. I think you're going to like it. Let us know. All feedback is welcome. Constructive criticism, whatever you might like to see or hear or from us, be sure and let us know, man. It's we just want to build the best program for you guys.
And those listening to the audio podcast later, shoot us some DMs. Let us know what you think. Check it out. Use that 30 days free. Let us know where we can improve. Like, obviously this is brand new for Bass U jumping into the kayak side. Let us know what you want to see. We want to keep evolving this and make it a really fine-tuned product here.
100%. And we're going to be using guys like Ryan. Ryan's heading it up for us, and we appreciate that the advice and steering us in the right direction. And we're going to make sure that we get it right and get the stuff that you guys want to see.
And shout out to Charles Daughtry, who my boy Chuck, who pushed me into this in the first place. So thank you to the artist formerly known as Chuck. We miss you.
What's up, Charles? We haven't seen Charles for a little while, man. I hope he's doing well.
Oh, the best tagline for the new kayak section is in the comments, Ryan. 30 days to PKA. That needs to be
that's it.
Marketing.
That's a selling point right there.
Yeah, 30 days to PKA.
PKA is professional kayak angler, Pete, by the way. It's not anything too derogatory.
Yeah, 30 days to PKA. That's your new marketing deal there. Free tonight from Miller Time on YouTube.
We're going to implement that immediately.
Yeah.
submit your best 30 days to PKA tattoo for a free membership.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh, wow. What a show. Pete, thanks so much for taking the time. I know you've had a long day, as always, but like you said, we're talking fishing, so it's a good way to end the night.
Yes, this is awesome. I appreciate you guys having me on, and thanks so much, and appreciate you guys getting behind it. And Ryan, thanks so much for what you do for Bass U, and look forward to the fall and what we're going to be bringing this spring. I can't wait to be on site with all the kayak guys. I can't wait to be in classroom. Looking forward to that happening in the spring of next year.
Gonna have fun with it. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
You too.
All right, see you, Pete.
There we go, Ryan. Awesome stuff.
Dude, I'm so glad we got this going. I mean, I feel like it was just building and building and building, and we started filming in November last year, and just the anticipation of waiting to see the final product. So I'm glad we got it off the ground. Thanks for everybody that has been supportive through this and help us push it out and make this thing successful. That's the goal here.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this, as secrets go in the kayak world, it kind of stayed under wraps for a good amount of time, which is good.
It did. I mean, there was obviously a core group of people involved in the planning process, but I think you're going to see a lot of expansion done with it, from an angler perspective, but also probably some other media avenues as well. So I'm really looking forward to what it can do for, not only the anglers using this as an information source, but also the sport in general. I think that's just one more step toward, being taken seriously in the eyes of these bigger companies in the industry.
Amen. We're getting some great comments saying you guys are knocking out of the park with these episodes. Great job. We got people saying they just signed up. Man, we should have done some rev share with Pete on this for the signups. 24 hours.
I'll send him an email.
Yeah, tell him to send me a hat. We'll call it even. How about that?
Deal.
We'll be straight.
We'll do that.
Nah, good stuff, man.
I'm out. I'm done. Got to hit the road tomorrow. Get back to a real job, as they call it.
All right, brother. Well, we'll see everybody next week.
All right, see y'all.